Welcome to the MD podcast with me, Martin Hartley, the Commercial Director of Emagine Consulting. We are a professional services consultancy who specialise in providing high-value, low-population SMEs to the banking and financial services sector. Being a leader within the world's leading financial organisation is aspirational. However, few people make it to the top. The Emagine podcast will offer interesting, insightful and frank discussions on the biggest issues facing directors and divisional leaders in the financial services sector. This show aims to inspire and educate future leaders by telling career stories of today's leaders. I can't wait for today's episode. I'm joined by Achaiah Thimmaiah, who's a Portfolio Director for Strategic Industry Solutions at HSBC. Ash, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Martin. Thank you for having me on the show.
Good, excellent. Okay, so the format of the show, for those of you that are new to it, is that we look at the past, present, and future career journeys of our guests. So I'm really excited to have a look and have a conversation with Ash today. So Ash, take us back to the very beginning. Where were you born? Where are the family from?
Yeah, so again, thank you for the opportunity, Martin, and thanks for the viewers who are listening to this show as well. I guess so to start off where I'm born, I'm basically from Bangalore, from India, completely born, brought up there. I've done my education in Bangalore as well. In terms of what I did, etc. I think from an education perspective, I say that first. I would say I've done my mechanical engineering and my MBA from Indian University.
Nice.
This was back in those 1995, 98, such sort of a year.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of 2000 is when I graduated from engineering, and then I started to sort of look out for opportunities, etc. Back then. So that's my background and a bit of education perspective, Martin.
Absolutely. So now Bengaluru, if I'm right, and the new tech capital hub of India. That's exactly where our delivery center is. So I know a lot of the guys over there quite well, actually. What did you always want to get into technology? Did you always want to get into IT and change and banking, or?
Well, to be honest, no. Into financial services industry, this just came about as an opportunity back in those days. Okay, again, just a bit of a background there. When I was doing my engineering, I what happened in Bangalore back then was around the year of 2000s, etc., the millennial year, etc. Like we say, the .com booming year, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
Software was booming. I think outsourcing, servicing, operational setup was actually booming as well, and because I had a lot of flavor towards assembling my own computers back then, so that was my pet hobby back in my engineering days, because Bangalore was famous for that. You can go and buy a $50, $100 kind of parts of computers, and then come home and assemble it yourself. So I used to do that, and it so happened that one would wonder, being a mechanical engineer, having a flavor to computers and hardware, etc., what would I do next? I think that's when, to my surprise, in 2000, Dell opened up the first outsourcing hub, as we say today, in Bangalore, and was very interested, excited, and without thinking twice, I jumped onto the bandwagon with my couple of friends to say, let's go try it out, let's see what's going to happen. And then there you go, and then the rest is past, as we all say, and that started off my journey in a technology enabled field, purely because of my passion and my interest.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my I think my very first entry into my professional work experience, which I have now completed 20 plus years across. I'll probably tell the viewers as how I kind of moved from there to what I'm today.
Yeah, absolutely. And what did your parents do? Were they into technology? Did you follow the footsteps, or?
No, absolutely not. My mom was working for a local firm as an accountant in Bangalore, and then my dad was working for Bosch, which again, what most of you would know is it's a German company based out of Germany, etc., headquartered in Munich and Frankfurt. But Bosch used to make a lot of special purpose machines bulbs and sort of those kind of spark plugs for the vehicles, etc. And the outsource center as a manufacturing center was in Bangalore. So my dad used to work there. So no way connected to technology at all, completely hardcore. And mechanical engineering enthusiasm spurted from my dad because he used to be in that field as well. So
Sure.
that's a bit of a background there.
Sure, you always had an eye for fixing things, and
lot of the stuff. Yeah, nowadays DIY is helping me a lot in those
yeah.
trades anyway. So yeah.
But obviously, your mother was in the financial services industry, so that helped.
A bit of accounting. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, all right. So you joined Dell. How old were you at this point?
Well, I think probably around 25, 26 types. I would say right out of college, 2000, year 2000. Yeah.
And were you single at this point? Did you have a family?
Oh, well, at this point, yeah. I mean, yes. Currently, I'm married and I have 2 daughters, aged 12 and 8.
Okay.
I'll when I tell you the present, etc. Yes, from Bangalore during my tenure, etc. Kind of over the last 8 years, I've based out of London now.
Yeah, cool. Okay. And so you're at Dell for a couple of years, weren't you? And
Yeah.
well, what obviously first jobs are really important, especially if you think about graduates coming out today or people doing apprenticeships and going straight into it. I mean, what were some of the key learns in your first experience in industry?
I think in industry, like you said, brand new, the setup was overwhelming. The whole environment was overwhelming. The kind of processes and needs to be done, etc., was overwhelming. And it was a bit of a night shift as well because we used to support US sort of clients, etc. So I think with all of those kind of overwhelming factors, plus the fear of kind of wanting to do something good, wanting to do something better for myself, was also playing. So I think my kind of thinking was, because education has always been the pillar and the backbone of any Indian community, like one could always imagine. So all I did was use that to the strength, which is put your head down, get your grips on what you're trying to do, establish yourself, and do a good job, whatever best possible, and kind of eliminate any sort of distractions. Because at that time, I can imagine being a bachelor, lots of friends and stuff like that. I'm not much of a party goer, party person, etc. But one could say work hard, play hard, kind of a thing as well.
Yeah.
But I knew exactly from a responsibility perspective in the family, outside the family, and for myself, probably that kind of good grounding helped me to kind of keep going.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And what was your role? What was your entry level role?
I used to be a couple. I did a couple of roles, to be honest. When I joined, I kind of started servicing the laptop sort of service center as heading a team, etc., with few team members, supporting clients in the US and Mexico. And then gradually, second part of the year, Dell started expanding their portfolio from laptops to kind of external devices to kind of server support as well.
Okay.
So later part of the year, I kind of joined the server support team, and then I did a bit of work there as well. Again, as a team leader, just kind of managing processes and people and escalations and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So then from Dell, you went straight into HSBC, if I'm
I did. I mean, yeah, from Dell, kind of 2 reasons for me to get out of Dell was, one was this whole night shift was killing me, which is not kind of making work-life balance much easier. So, and then and one of the biggest reasons is also that after that I felt I should be doing something else. And in between, I took up a small job here and there, but it did not work out. And it so happened that back in 2003 again, around the time early 2003, HSBC was kind of setting up a shop in Bangalore again, as what we know today. And one of my, I give credit to my my close friend here because of him, we said let's give it a try in HSBC, because I have diddly Scooby-Doo of financial information knowledge, etc. But let's go and figure out what it is. Let's understand what it is, etc. So we understood the logic of HSBC back then was we don't need any financial expertise people, but we need people who have ability to manage people, strength, leadership qualities, and et cetera, and who have a bit of an experience in outsourcing services and so on and so forth. So I kind of fit the bill pretty well. And I kind of walked in. It was a walk-in interview, by the way, back
Nice.
then. So 2003 in Bangalore, in next to the IBM, kind of, not IBM, I should say, IIM, Indian Institute of Management office in Banagata Road, as we say. So walk-in interview, went around 8 o'clock in the morning. There's almost like 300-400 people standing in the queue, just walked in with a resume in the hand. And then 3 o'clock in the afternoon, did almost like 3-4 rounds of interview.
Wow.
And then got the role in the bank.
It's funny because that method and process of interviewing sounds so outdated, but 2003 doesn't feel that long ago, really. So it's
exactly.
yeah, it's funny.
The point there, Martin, was I think they were hiring in masses.
Yeah.
It was not like a very structured, like let's go. And I mean, today if you see, they don't do that. It's grown, developed, matured, but there it was like, come, I'll hire you in masses sort of a thing. So more and more, because they're setting up the shop, so they needed that. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so what was your first job title then with HSBC?
So in HSBC, because of all the strengths I mentioned, because being around people, helping, guiding them comes quite naturally to me. That's my strength.
Yep.
And I played my strength pretty well. So because of that, I got a role as a assistant manager operations, as we say, in payments and cash management business, which is a one level higher up than the junior most level in the institution, which is applicable even today as well. So as it says GCB 7, as it says, as a starting position.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I got in.
Nice. Okay, and so then you worked in that area for about 8 years. What was the career path like in that department, that area?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's quite interesting actually. Again, I know there are. I'll tie back into as we move forward as to what kept me going as well. But started off in payments and cash management as assistant manager operations, which is GCB 7 as mentioned. Did that for a couple of years. Then I felt that I have to test myself being a project manager. Because during the period of 2 years, what I got to experience in HBC was travel to Leicester for almost like 8 months,
Okay.
and then travel to London as well. So what I got to see was what is out there that I could actually kind of go and try and test myself. And I was very influenced by the project managers who are actually able to manage the whole scenario situation.
Yeah.
And that comes naturally again to me in terms of taking point A to point B, how do you go and execute, et cetera, et cetera. So I then moved on from there, from that assistant manager role. I kind of switched on to a project role as well. As independent individual contributor role, got a promotion there to a grade 6, and then started to kind of work on a project level on managing quite a few offshoring processes or outsourcing processes, as we say today, into Bangalore office, and then from there on, it kind of went on from strength to strength. And I think around the time of 2006, 2007, I should say. Global banking markets, which was back then called as corporate and institution banking, as we know today, it's called global banking markets, investment banking. They set up a first shop of client onboarding in Bangalore back then, and I was chosen as a project manager to oversee the entire setup, not only in Bangalore but also in Calcutta and in Malaysia as well.
Okay.
And that actually changed the entire narrative of a financial industry for me, because I was in payments and cash management, doing projects, et cetera, something different. Then into global banking markets. So since then, I think from 2006 onwards to 2012, I should say, what the bank offered me was work in probably 8 different locations on a medium to short term, working with multiple stakeholders, senior stakeholders, trying to kind of see the picture from a senior stakeholders lens perspective.
Sure.
Learn the organization, learn financial services a bit more. So all of that came as a bit of a package. But I think what helped me was I never stood still. If I had stood still in the assistant manager role, I would have probably stood still there and probably have done something. But what kept me going was the hunger in me to kind of learn more and capture what I can kind of learn more as well and keep going more and test myself as well. That actually helped me to kind of move around places, learn and develop.
Great. I've got loads of questions from that part of the show so far. You've just answered one of them actually. Actually, it was interesting to say, all of a sudden, quite soon in your career, you've got exposure to a lot of different countries, a lot of different processes, and a lot of different people.
Yep.
My question was going to be, how did you do that? You mentioned you didn't stand still,
Yep.
but was it you offering to do more? Was it your attitude? What was it that made you different, that they said, right, okay, do you know what, this guy's heading for really good things, and we're going to, you know, from there you moved into the change team, right, which is a great place to be. So
yeah, so I think simply put, Martin, I would say all of this happened purely because I was asking for more from my line managers. I was demonstrating that I am there to deliver and fold my sleeves and get involved, rather than sitting quietly at the back end and letting the team do, etc. Irrespective of me managing a bunch of 23 to 25 senior project managers or change managers in the GBM world or global banking world, I still said to my line manager, who was actually, I had dual reporting, one was in India, one was in the US, saying that I still raised my hand and said, along with the team, like they are doing projects, etc., I need to keep myself upskilled and knowledge kind of keep on developing. What should I do? How would I do? So because of my inquisitive nature of asking questions, raising my hand, pushing the boundaries, I think that helped me to open up those avenues, like I mentioned, work in different countries, work with people, work with the, again, it's up to me. I mean, if I rewind the clock, can I have done anything different? I think the only thing I could have done different is I could have stood still. I could have said, this is my life. That's it. Thank you very much. I'm happy. But no, I have not. So I think that's what has kept me going. And then there were also comparators which I could derive from my sources around me as a network as well, where I could, when I say comparators, not in a bad way, but comparators in a way as to what can I get, how can I get to a level of that person who's next to me? What am I? What is he doing different to what I can be doing different as well? That actually helped me to navigate as well, talk to people who really matter, talk to people who really could give you advice and guidance. How
did you seek those people out? How did you know who to talk to?
Yeah, I think one or two things. First one was easy, because as project sponsors, every project was wanting to have a sponsor, and each of these projects would have ran for roughly 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, etc.
Yeah.
So in that period of time, I was very confident and well established to demonstrate what value that I can bring to the table. I mean, one could always say, give me a task and I'll go do it. But one could also say, give me a task, I'll do it. But you know what? Within the task, I can actually show you certain value stream, which actually makes you think, oh, well, I could have thought about it completely different. So that is what I started to pick up and started to engage. And first channel was speak to my sponsors and ask them for guidance, project-wise, but personal-wise as well.
Good.
And my local line manager over there, I truly throw my credits to all my line managers who have actually helped me throughout my journey. Is that it's less about what I don't know kind of thing. I mean, I was never behind, oh, give me promotions, give me money, blah blah blah. But I was always asking, give me the skills and knowledge that I can go and acquire and do more. I think that hunger has kept me going, and that hunger has helped me network and kind of pinpoint those dots to say I should be talking to person A to person B to C who can I can galvanize my career.
Okay, so there's a great key learn there, and the key learn is, you know, you don't necessarily need to ask for the promotion or ask for the pay rise, but you need to ask for the ability to deliver, demonstrate you can deliver, and the rest will come.
Absolutely. One of the classic examples I keep throwing out to my team as well, Martin. Not that I'm kind of showcasing. I've never seen anybody doing, because at one point of time in my career, whilst I was in global banking markets, because of the work I was doing on the work ethic I was exhibiting, I actually got 100% pay hike.
Wow.
Complete 100% with a promotion as well. Complete flip on its head kind of a thing, unheard of in my entire career. And even HR was actually stunned, because and the line manager, who I very, very adore and I like the person a lot.
For more than that reason, right?
Absolutely. The support that I rendered you when somebody puts faith and trust in you, your elevation goes up so much that you have to do more and more. You have to, because the expectation is, benchmark is so high that you need to keep on performing. That's actually kept me going, and that is a brilliant stroke, I would say, from what I could do. And
was that role there to head of change?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And I mean, how old were you at this point then?
I think I was around 30, give or take, 32, 33.
32, 33, head of change, Asia Pac, HSBC, 100% pay rise.
Yeah.
Must felt great, right?
23 to 24, brilliant team. And my team, when I say team, out of the 23, 24 people, again, thanks to them as well, because they made me a better person as well. In the end of the day, it's always a team who makes an individual better person as well. So thanks to them, because all the 23, 24 people were not sitting next to me, and we're not trying to drive projects next to me. They were all globally thrown around resources, right? One used to be in Paris for almost like a year, few in Hong Kong, few in New York, etc. So with that myriad of work experience comes the exposure as well. And then I was chosen. I mean, that, again, and another example to throw in is because of my enthusiasm and energetic way of working. My lab manager in the US at one point of time, Ash, I need your help in Krakow in Poland. Could you jump on a plane in a few weeks' time and then go there to help them out? I said, fine. Imagine, I've never been to Poland in my life. I don't know what Poland looks like. I don't know what Krakow looks like. Coming from Bangalore, going to Frankfurt, sitting for 8 hours in a flight, and then, et cetera, et cetera. It's a complete mind shift of Poland, Krakow. And I worked in Poland, Krakow for 6 months, and the kind of effectiveness that I was able to drive there was brilliant. Even today, we are very well connected to a lot of the Polish colleagues who are there in the institution. They all, I think that's again comes with the attitude and the energy to drive, and always fold your sleeves, get the job done. That's the motto that I have. I mean, I don't think am I going to do a good job or a bad job? No, that's like secondary. But the fact is, let's get the job done. Then let people evaluate, was it good, bad, etc. But let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I wanted to go back to one thing you said earlier as well. Is you mentioned the first time in the UK you went to Leicester and then to London. What was your first impressions of the UK?
Oh, well, I think to be honest, when we flew from Bangalore, we never flew directly to Leicester because there was no direct flight anyway, even for today, I think. But we flew into Birmingham. And from Birmingham, there was a taxi that was booked for us. 3 of us came to Leicester. I think it was pretty overwhelming, pretty exciting as well. And then we started kind of mingling with those people in Leicester office, in Demonford Street office, just to be precise, where we were. I mean, even today, HSBC is there, by the way.
Yeah.
And then staying in a hotel in Holiday Inn. I think it was completely over the top to me, and the exposure, experience, and the lot of kind of second, third generation Indian colleagues in Leicester, etc. So I think that changed the world as well as to what I think I could probably learn there and then move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, isn't it? Because if you think about the opportunities that have come, I mean, you've earned them. You've worked really well, but working for one of the largest banks in the world, if not the largest, that you've now ticked off a lot of international travel, a lot of international projects.
Yes.
And you're almost, back then, we're going back, 2010, 2012 now, you were working in the same way that we're all working now, right? You're working remotely with a global team. So
yes.
Almost ahead of its time. Great. Okay. So what were the challenges then, though? Then all of a sudden your position has been elevated, rightly so. You've done a great job. But now, how do the challenges change on a day-to-day? How do you go from being peers to a leader of said peers and so on?
Yeah, I think in the current environment, I would say, again, from a career perspective, let me answer the question, then I'll move on. Is I moved into this team in end of 2012, early 2013, when there was a lot of organizational changes, etc. And we went ahead. I was one of the chosen ones to set up this particular team called Strategic Industry Solutions. So what we do is we work with external banks and vendors to drive utility collaboration engagements and asset monetization engagements for the industry. I represent HSBC across the group. So suddenly, from a I think the biggest shift that happened in my career was in the change days. I never used to go and worry about should I go get a project from X person, Y person, etc., etc. We used to get a bunch of projects. A project used to come with a bunch of amount of money, whatever, and an executable date, and we go get it done, kind of a thing. But the entire shift that happened since 2013 in this particular team is that's another exciting thing that I wanted to do as well, is nobody gives us projects here. We have to go and generate the projects ourselves.
Mhm.
When I say projects, means imagine working with external banks and vendors, etc., collaboratively, kind of trying to find industry solutions out there. None of our senior execs have the mandate to go and do this. So this team was created just to kind of to do the job. So we had to go and create projects. We had to go and kind of galvanize our internal people, get them kind of understand the whole dynamics of this whole thing, and then bring them to the table. Even to bring them to the table to have one dialogue is such a big challenge in this environment today. And then that's the shift which happened, and suddenly kind of elevated my pitch and my kind of working kind of style as well. I can no longer sit and say, well, I have a bunch of projects, let me go and deliver and I'll be hunky-dory, all well and fine. But now it's a dual effort here. Once I have a bunch of projects which I have self-created or self-originated, which is running, but it doesn't stop me, or if I stop, it stops, but it doesn't stop me from keep on looking at it from an external perspective. What else is happening? How can I go and do more? Sort of a thing is also all of those sort of pipeline building, etc. So the challenges are quite varied, I would say, but it's quite interesting. And to be honest, there's no prescribed way that for a opportunity or an initiative you should go this way or that way, sort of a thing. Each of them changes and dynamics change as well. So over the last give or take 6-7 years, because we cut across the group, our projects have always worked from risk process, where my ex sponsor Ray O'Brien was sponsoring one engagement back then, to on the other end of the extreme to compliance colleagues as well, and in the middle we have wholesale and global banking and CA. It cuts across the whole stream. So it's varied, it's different.
Which is how we obviously came to know each other, right? Obviously,
Yes.
Emagine, we're partnered with HSBC for 17 years now, and we're part of the Risk 2025 transformation program, which is great, and then working in the risk department. So yeah, I mean, it's a good place. The role that you've just described there is actually very similar to what I do now as well. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's good. I mean, as you said, yeah, you cut across every area of the bank. In fact, actually, before we come to this question, let's just talk about your move to the UK then.
Yeah.
So 2013, you moved to the UK. How did you find that? I'm assuming your wife came with you at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, during the early part of my career, it was just me, like a nomad person traveling the world. And 2013, because of this role, because of this department team, etc., the role was offered in the UK, and I had to move. And this time, I decided to kind of move along with my family as well, and my daughters, who were back then, they were 4 years and 4 months. One was 4 years, another one was 4 months. So literally too young, to be honest.
That's exactly the scenario I'm in right now, with a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old. So I appreciate at that time you were getting very little sleep as well.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. So
chucking a country move to it, I can imagine the pressure that puts the family under.
Yeah. So again, thanks to my spouse as well, was very supportive and helpful. So yeah, it was quite challenging. On one hand, we had to get the family and ourselves adjusted in this new environment, new country, completely new. Everything was new, and my wife had quit a job. She had come here, etc., etc. But on the other hand, it's work, brand new team, brand new environment again. I had to prove myself. So managing both sides of the spectrum was challenging, but was ably supported both from a family side and from the organizational side quite well. So it kind of helped me a lot.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, how do you manage the work-life balance? Obviously, your stakeholders are of the most senior level throughout the bank. but you're also working with a lot of industry partners to try and
Yep.
find new solutions and bring new initiatives to the bank,
Yep.
which is obviously extremely challenging. You've then got 2 daughters, you've got your wife. How do you manage that work-life balance, that home life, work life?
Well, I think there is no secret sauce, sort of a magic point here at all, Martin. To be honest, I think it kind of some things come naturally to me because of my project skills and the management skills and the people skills, etc. It comes naturally. I don't have to put too much of an effort. And secondly, again, I have a small bunch of team here with me, 4 people who are extremely talented. So I know how to kind of give them the best that they want, and we kind of get moving. And it so happens that delegation is a key aspect which I was struggling in the early part of my career everywhere, because not because I'm not good at delegation, because I strive for perfection in the job I do, and that actually holds me back by giving away tasks to others, etc. Right? So I started to learn that things needs to be slightly different. So between a combination of factors like my own project management skills, family support because my spouse was kind of not working, plus delegation, and where I could add value, where I could not add value, where I need to be ruthless in terms of things. Say, for example, now these projects that we do, not everything will be a success. And frankly speaking, we don't have to sit on this for eternity to say something's going to happen. So we need to be ruthless at some times to say, will it work, will it not work, like a fast fail mode kind of a thing as well.
Yeah.
So we used to be in that, we used to apply that lens as well. So a combination of these factors really helped me to manage, and it's still helping me to manage the scenario that I'm in today in terms of balancing both work and life, and yeah, the rest all is just fell in place, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because you look at the skills that you've been taught in industry to try and help manage the home life.
Exactly.
I get a lot of that on the show, and and equally 2 other big things are the delegation point and the time management. They're the 2 aspects that come up, and like yourself, like you openly admitted there, which is great, a lot of senior leaders struggle with that in their early career, because it's, you want to get the job done properly, you want to do it effectively, but it's not always the best method or the best, you're not always the best person to do it, right? So it's understanding and learning that, and it is an art form, I think. But then you see senior leaders that make it look really easy, and you're like, right, okay, I need to hone in on that, and I need to pick that
the
up.
point, what I've learned, Martin. Now by the way, I've completed 18 years in the bank now. This is my 18th plus. So come January, I'll complete 19. So what I've learned in these 9 years is I can't be an expert in all. Neither I want to be an expert in all. I think there are people with expertise in certain things. Let them do the best thing that they can as well. And there are people who want to kind of get into those expert zone as well. Fantastic. So what I can do is let my job split into 2 aspects. Those expertise that I don't have, there are people who can do it. Let me give it to them. Those people who want to kind of get into some expertise, I can probably guide them and get them to the journey as well. So in between is my job, sitting and kind of tagging around and moving around things, etc. So I think that's one of the things that I've learned is, let's not be an expert in all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to get some life experience to understand that, don't you? Because obviously early on in your career, you're trying to do everything. You're trying to do it 100 miles an hour.
What I don't, what I think I have not shared, which I think is not, I mean, may not be relevant, is it may sound very hunky-dory 18 years. I've had my successes and failures and the beatings around or within this span as well. Learnings from those beatings is what has taken me here. When I say beating, I mean, don't get me wrong, but when I say beatings in a way that would have taught me a lesson to say what I should have learned from the mistake, what I should not do again, what I should lift myself and move forward. Don't get bogged down. Those kind of things. That's happened as part of my career. There's no joke at all, or not.
Absolutely, and it's how you come back from that, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but it genuinely is. If you've got the ability to analyze performance, understand where you went wrong, that's one thing, and then the second thing is obviously implementing that change and ensuring you don't make those mistakes again. And I think that's crucial, and that's a big part of human nature as well, isn't it? And cool. Okay. All right. Tell us a bit about your current role at the moment and what you're doing.
In the current role, like I started, I am now very recently I'm now co-heading this team, Strategic Industry Solutions, with a colleague of mine. As part of head of UK and US, I mean, with the small team that I have, I'm now going to get involved more, because the one end of the work that I do, like I mentioned, is on external utilities and asset monetization that HBC had, that we could take it to the marketplace and then commercialize the ventures. And the second leg of work that we will be starting to do in the next month or so is HSBC's strategy is now to look at externalization, i.e. asset monetization and this and that, etc. And lots of senior audiences have seen a lot of have opened up, I should say, opened up their mind and their thinking to say, why should not HBC explore those sort of avenues, like what other institutions have done, like Goldman's and Citi, etc. So I'm in that kind of a good zone now, in my opinion, that I will be part of that sort of a strategy work as well for the institution as we move forward. So a two-pronged approach is what the role is going to look like in the next few months to come. Quite interesting, quite challenging, and I think as we move forward, probably due to the changing circumstances environment, there's a big plan from the bank as well. By 2022, we probably need to do something more different, set up a revenue stream, etc. So all of that is going to play into the role that we are doing, and we are kind of getting towards the new phase.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds really, really interesting, really exciting. Obviously, you're quite fortunate 'cause you get quite a diverse role as well. I
Yes.
mean, who are some of your stakeholders?
Um, so as part of the work I do, usually the sponsors of our engagements are either the CEO for the function or one level below a CEO. So they are the direct sponsors of any initiative that we do. And on a quarterly basis, I have a audience with the group CEOs of functions to talk about all the initiatives, etc., which is chaired by the head of DBS, I mean, Digital Business Services, Sonali Go. So I think stakeholders anywhere between a C-suite to one level below, I would say, are my regular people who I interact with and who I build my network and communicate the engagements.
Yeah, and what's the most challenging aspect of that?
The challenging aspect, I would say, Martin, is, like I said sometime back, is uh, it, these sort of projects are not in their objectives to go and do. And they don't think of these sort of projects. So the very the most challenging part is, how am I going to go with a new idea, new concept, to say, for example, to a wholesale CEO or a CEO or whoever person, and say, we need to be in this gig. We need to kind of look at this gig. What's in it for us, kind of, etc. And then getting them to kind of buy into it.
Yeah,
Buy, when I say buy into the concept and etc. That's the most challenging thing. And that too, the analogy that I have for SIS is always this: imagine I'm trying to sell somebody a brand new car or a Jaguar car. I've never built a car, neither have you seen a car, but I'm trying to sell you a car. The concept is a car. Now, how does it look? What does it feel, etc., etc.? Nobody has a clue what it is. So, but I'm still going to sell the car.
yeah,
And I need to get you onto the board to say, be part of this designing of the car process. And then as you move forward, there are toll gates to see, would you like it, not like it. And at the end, the car could be ready, but you may not like it because you may not like the color, you may not like whatever, but somebody else may like it. That's the challenge here. That's
yeah.
the challenge. The concept is in your mind, but people need to understand. I need to be able to communicate properly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you're really passionate about change and technology within that change as well. So I think that comes across in what you've done and throughout your career.
Yep.
What HSBC has been good for you, right? So
Yes.
what is it that you love about the company, the role?
I think pretty much everything about the organization I like and love. No qualms about that at all. I think the organization has given me what I desire the most. Good people, good leaders, exposure to different sorts of countries, different sorts of working in sort of functions, and also helping me move to another country as well completely. So all in all, one could always ask, saying that, yeah, that's the reason I always turn back and ask the question, if I had sat in Bangalore back in those days and not asked anything, I could not have blamed the bank for that. I think I was to be blamed myself. So I think when I raised my questions, when I had issues and challenges in the organization, reaching out to people and the way the individuals have reacted to the situations and helped me shape myself is phenomenal. And I think that's what the bank is good at, and I really love about the bank.
Okay. And what sort of support or training have you had throughout your career since you've been with the bank?
Well, there are both external and internal sort of support that one could get from the institution. Now over the last few years, I think things have got really more streamlined, I would say. But internally, there are a number of different training courses one could always kind of enroll into, depending on the grade and the structure. So,
and is that led by you, or do you have somebody saying, I think you should do this, or is it off your own initiative?
Well, it's a combination of both, to be honest, that I've had in my career. Few were that I have picked up myself because of my genuine passion to learn, both internally and externally. And one or two have been from my line managers over the period of time for me to be part of, because they hear it from their sources as to what may help certain individuals. So I've been pushed into those sort of programs as well. And externally is purely my own effort, because externally I've attended many courses in terms of what offerings that may have, from attending seminars to publications to learning programs in Cambridge, etc. It's all purely my own effort. But to be honest, the bank is supported there, because a lot of these things are not free of cost anyway. It comes with a subscription, and so on and so forth. So banks helped me there. So all a combination of internal, external courses, learning abilities has really kind of helped me a lot. Good.
Okay. And what's next for you then? Look at the future for a couple of minutes.
Well, I think over the last, yeah, that's right. Will I stay in the institution for the next 5, 6 years, 10 years? I would imagine, why not? I think it's been great, and I would like to try myself out more. Will I stay in the same country? No, I've already picked up my choice and say I have to move. Probably to a Asian destination, and I've made my options quite openly felt. From a career perspective, I've actually been very open that I have to get into a CEO role in the next few years. What should I be doing? How should I be acting, reacting, behaving, blah blah blah. So that's my strategy, Martin, to be honest. Get into a CEO cadre in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Today I'm a GCB3. From an organization hierarchy perspective. So if you imagine, from a 7 to a 3 has taken me 18 years, having done many things.
Yeah.
Now this, so CEO is my next goal. Location is not a problem. I'm absolutely open. My family is open as well, and wanting to see what I can do more and learn more.
So I think there's a good tip there, isn't there? So already you're thinking, right, okay, circa 5, 6 years ahead. Yes. You're thinking, I've made my goal. My objective is to be COO. How do I get there? You're now seeking advice on, what to do, how to act, how to behave, who to influence, right? And then obviously you can go about planning how you actually do that. Then it's on you to implement and execute against that plan.
Exactly.
Why change a location? Will that help you achieve your goal, or just do you fancy it?
I think for 2 reasons, to be honest. One is because my folks are back in India still. So as they get old, I have a certain responsibility towards helping them, taking care of them in due course. So that's one, definitely a personal reason. Secondly, if I be in the bank, then the whole industry knows HSBC is shifting their attention towards Asia, from a lot of strategy, a lot of work, everything perspective, all of it. So I think the opportunities will always knock you. It's going to knock you out if you're in the location where actually the work is actually more and more kind of prevalent. And I mean, all of this comes with a cost as well. So we need to kind of work out in terms of where the bank's investing,
Sure.
how is the economy moving. So yeah, combination of those factors.
Makes sense. Okay, great. Brilliant. Well, obviously that was looking at the past, the present, and the future, Ash, which was really insightful, really interesting. Obviously, I've got a lot of respect for what you've done and what you're doing. Let's look at some quick fire questions then.
Sure.
And so we'll,
Sure.
we'll put a little bit of pressure under you. What's 3 pieces of advice you would give to the younger generation?
I would say stay humble,
Mhm.
exhibit hunger to learn and acquire knowledge or skills, and then be ready to adapt in this changing world or environment.
Good. Okay. And what are 3 resources you've used for self-development?
Definitely, early part of my career, I was very much influenced by Jack Welch's book, Straight from the Gut, from what he wrote about Genpack and the GE and the culture, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Middle part of the thing, when I was reading quite a few books, I read middle part of the career, I read a book from Louis Gressner Jr., the ex-CEO for IBM, who says elephants can't dance. It's a fantastic book if somebody wants to read it, because he got into the time when IBM was almost like a falling off from the cliff sort of a company, from what he's thought, how he's masterminded to break open the business channels and then operating to what it is today. So it's brilliant to see what he says in this book there. And then from a publication podcast perspective, I'm always into TED Talks or podcasts where I listen to a lot of CEOs of Google, Amazon, and especially fintech firms, etc. Not that they say some fancy stuff, but I think there is something for everyone in those sort of information, either guidance, piece of learning aids, how not to do certain things. And more so, I would say, I think one thing which keeps on resonating with Sundar Pichai keeps saying in Google is he always keeps saying, keep a positive attitude and keep trying. That's
Absolutely.
all. So yeah, those are the 3 things that I think I keep.
I think that's crucial. And lastly, who's your role model and why?
Role model would be my dad. Simply because I've seen the way. I think I owe this career, I owe this whole thing to him, because the project management disciplines that is in me is because of him, because he is like that, at home, outside, wherever, social or professional. The way he carries himself, the way he kind of meticulously gets the job done. I think he's the role model for me, and he'll always remain my role model.
Absolutely. Great. That's really nice. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Ash.
Thank you, Martin.
We'll obviously keep in touch. I'm keen to see what you do next, and I'm confident that obviously you'll achieve that goal of CRO in the next 5 years. If anyone's listening to the show wants to pick your brains, I assume you're open to people messaging you for advice and so on LinkedIn, so obviously they can catch you on there. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Martin.
Absolutely. And to the listeners, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed listening. If you've enjoyed it, please share, pass it on. And obviously, if you'd like to be a guest, then get in touch. You can catch me on LinkedIn. It's Martin Hartley or martin.hartley@emagine.co.uk. Thanks.